Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to explore one of the most transformative events in modern history, World War I. This war, which lasted from 1914 to 1918, not only devastated Europe and the world, but also reshaped international politics, economies, and societies in profound ways. The effects of this conflict are still felt today. But how did World War I start, and what were its long-term consequences? Let's take a deep dive into the causes and consequences of World War I. World War I didn't happen overnight. It was the result of a long buildup of political, military, and economic tensions in Europe. One key factor was imperialism, the competition among European powers to acquire colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. Nations like Britain, France, and Germany were vying for control of these regions, which caused friction, particularly between Germany and Britain as they competed for naval supremacy in overseas territories. The second major cause was nationalism. As nationalism spread across Europe, various ethnic groups within large empires, like the Austro-Hungarian Empire, wanted independence. For example, Serbia sought to unite Slavic peoples, which threatened Austria-Hungary. In the Balkans, tensions were high, and the region became known as the powder keg of Europe. Militarism, the belief in building up strong military forces, also played a crucial role. By the early 20th century, European nations had large, standing armies, and military technology had advanced rapidly. This created an environment where nations were not only prepared for war, but were almost eager for it. The alliance system further complicated things. In an effort to maintain a balance of power, European nations formed complex military alliances. The Triple Entente, consisting of France, Russia, and Britain, faced off against the Triple Alliance, made up of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. While these alliances were intended to prevent war, they had the opposite effect, ensuring that any conflict between two nations could quickly escalate into a broader war. Finally, industrialization also contributed to the war's intensity. With advancements in technology and manufacturing, countries could produce vast amounts of weapons and military supplies. The creation of deadly weapons, like machine guns, tanks, and poison gas, made warfare more devastating and prolonged. The immediate spark that set off World War I was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, on June 28, 1914, in Sarajevo. The assassin, Gavrilo Princip, was a member of a Serbian nationalist group. This assassination led to Austria-Hungary declaring war on Serbia. Serbia's ally, Russia, mobilized its military, and soon Germany declared war on Russia. France, allied with Russia, was drawn in, and Germany's invasion of Belgium brought Britain into the conflict. In just a matter of days, a localized conflict in the Balkans spiraled into a full-blown world war. The consequences of World War I were immense and far-reaching. First, the human cost was staggering. Over 10 million soldiers died, and more than 20 million were wounded. The war caused untold suffering among civilians as well, with millions killed by bombings, disease, and starvation. New weapons, like chemical gases, caused horrific injuries, and the brutal nature of trench warfare left soldiers in unimaginable conditions. On the psychological front, the war had a lasting impact, with many survivors returning home, suffering from what would later be diagnosed as post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. The emotional and psychological scars left by the war would affect entire generations. Politically, the war caused the collapse of several major empires. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was dissolved, leading to the creation of new countries like Czechoslovakia, Austria, Hungary, and Yugoslavia. The Ottoman Empire crumbled, and its territories in the Middle East were divided among the European powers, including Britain and France, who took control of several former Ottoman lands under mandates. The Russian Empire fell to revolution, and the Soviet Union emerged under Vladimir Lenin. The German Empire was replaced by the Weimar Republic, but it was weakened, particularly by the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles, which formally ended the war in 1919. The treaty placed full blame for the war on Germany, imposed heavy reparations, and redrew the map of Europe, creating resentment and sowing the seeds for future conflicts. One of the most significant consequences of the treaty was the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, as many Germans felt humiliated by the treaty and the economic hardships it caused. Economically, the war left Europe in ruins. Countries spent enormous amounts of money on the war effort, and many were left deeply in debt. The Treaty of Versailles demanded reparations from Germany, which further strained the German economy and contributed to hyperinflation in the early 1920s. Entire cities were destroyed, and many European economies struggled to rebuild. On the other hand, the United States emerged from the war as a global economic powerhouse, with its economy flourishing while Europe struggled to recover. The social and cultural impacts were profound as well. Women, who had taken on new roles in the workforce during the war, gained more social and political rights. In several countries, women were granted the right to vote, marking a significant step forward in gender equality. The war also led to widespread social change, with many young people, especially soldiers, experiencing disillusionment and a loss of faith in traditional values. The horrors of the war and its aftermath shaped a new cultural climate in the 1920s, which gave rise to movements like modernism, as artists, writers, and intellectuals sought to understand and express the profound trauma caused by the war. In conclusion, World War I was a catastrophic event that forever altered the course of history. It reshaped the political, economic, and social landscape of Europe and the world. The collapse of empires, the creation of new nations, the economic devastation, and the psychological toll on soldiers and civilians set the stage for future global conflicts. The Treaty of Versailles, though meant to bring peace, sowed the seeds for the next World War. The impact of World War I is still felt today, and understanding its causes and consequences is key to understanding the modern world.